chapter 14, Origin and History of the Gospels of the Infancy. We are now to search for the origin of the legendary accounts of the conception, birth, and childhood of Jesus. For the purpose of this investigation, the Proto-Evangelion and the Gospel of the Infancy may be considered together as Gospels of the Infancy. While in the subsequent history of the childhood of Christ, there are incidences which may be traced to other countries, there are certain leading features in the first part of the narrative which stamp it as of Persian derivation. These are the visit of the Magi, guided by a star, and the fact that the visit was made in accordance with the prophecy of Zoroaster or Zoroaster. This prophecy will be found in the life of Zoroaster in Du Perron's translation of the Zenavesta. Faber thinks the materials from which the Zenavesta were composed were taken from heathen rather than from Jewish sources, giving many reasons based upon the peculiar construction of the legends of the Zenavesta. One of these peculiarities consists in the association of a star with the deluge, a circumstance not to be found in the Mosaic account of the flood. Tasker, the second man bull of the creation, to whom was committed the charge of bringing on the deluge, was said to be a star, and his light is spoken of as shining on high during 30 days and 30 nights while the waters of the deluge were increasing. The star may be found in the mythology of other nations. Astarte consecrated at Tyre a star which she found falling from the sky. Electra, the mother of Dardanus, was one of 7 stars of the Pleiades and was saved from the deluge both in Arcadia and Samothrace. The star is older even than Zoroaster and, according to Faber, older than Hebrew tradition. There were 2 Zoroasters. The first, spoken of by Greek writers, flourished, according to these authors, several thousand years before Christ. Pliny speaks of him as thousands of years before Moses, and from that writer and Aristotle, it may be concluded that he lived some 6,000 years before Christ. Hermodorus, Hemippus, and Plutarch concur in dating him 5,000 years before the siege of Troy. The other Zoroaster flourished, according to Dr. Prideaux, in the time of Darius Hestippus. Sir William Jones agrees in assigning him to that period. It was the opinion of the learned Dr. Faber that there were 2 Zeraduks, or Zoroasters, and that the primal Zoroaster was none other than Menu, or Mahabad, or Buddha. He traces many analogies and resemblances between the ancient religions and mythologies of the Persians and the Hindus, and thinks that the Zenavesta is a modern compilation founded upon religious books compiled by the second Zoroaster, and those again based upon more ancient legends which were substantially identical with the older mythology of India. He ably antagonizes the theory of Dr. Prideaux that the accounts of the Zenavesta concerning the deluge and the antediluvial age were taken from the Mosaic history. Malcolm, in his History of Persia, states that Zoroaster first introduced the worship of fire. In the what is that word? In the recognitions may be found an interesting tradition upon the subject. Peter states that Zoroaster, being frequently intent upon the stars and wishing to be considered a god among them, began to draw forth sparks from the stars that he might astonish as with a miracle rude and ignorant men. That he attempted those things again and again until he was set on fire and consumed by the demon himself, whom he accosted with too great importunity. That the men of his day after this extolled him all the more, raised a monument to his honor, and adored him as a friend of God, and one who had been removed to heaven in a chariot of lightning. They then worshipped him as a living star, which, says the author of the Recognitions, is the meaning of the name from Zo, life, and Aster, star. The star, which had previously been an object of worship, now became associated with Zoroaster. But what about the prophecy upon which was founded the legend of the Magi? In the Life of Zoroaster, as given by Dr. Perrin in his translation of the Zenavesta, is an account of the three prophetic sons of Zoroaster who were to appear according to the Pavilion and Parisian books of the Parisians at successive periods of time. They were to be the result of immaculate conceptions caused by the washing of virgins in the water in which the wife of Zoroaster had bathed. The first is named Akradabami. He will appear in the last millennium of the world. He will stop the sun for 10 days and 10 nights, and the second part of the human race will embrace the law, of which he will bring this 22nd portion. The second posthumous son of Zoroaster is Arkradama. Oskardama. He will appear 400 years after Ostarakadabami. He will stop the sun 20 days and 20 nights, and he will bring the 23rd part of the law, and the third part of the world will be converted. This is somewhat different from the prophecy as given by Hyde in his work on the religion of the ancient Persians. But the Oskaradharma and the Oskaradarbami of Du Paran are doubtless the same as the Oskenarabaga and the Ostarabega of Hyde. Then follows in Du Paran this remarkable prophecy. The third is named Sosiach. He will be born at the end of the ages. He will bring the 24th portion of the law. He will stay the sun 30 days and 30 nights, and the whole earth will embrace the law of Zoroaster. After him will be the resurrection. Behold, what the books of the Parasy apprise us of the family of the legislator. From Abulafagarius, we learn that the prophecy was connected with the appearance of a star and the visit of Magi. Zoroaster declared that, says this writer, that in the latter days a pure virgin would conceive, and that as soon as the child should be born, a star would appear, blazing even at noonday with undiminished luster. You, my sons, exclaimed the seer, will perceive its rising before any other nation. As soon, therefore, as you shall behold the star, follow it whithersoever it shall lead you, and adore that mysterious child, offering your gifts to him with profound humility. He is the Almighty Word which created the heavens. Here, from a writer vouched for by Faber as high authority, we have not only the Immaculate Conception, the star, and the Magi of Matthew, but also the Logos of John. The Reverend Dr. Faber considers thoroughly the question whether this remarkable prediction was before or after the birth of Christ, and concludes it was a long time before. One reason why he rejects the idea of it being a subsequent forgery is that in the old Irish history there was a Zarathustra associated with a similar prophecy, which the first delivered by a Daru or Druid of Bokhara. The same prophecy was in the East described by Abulafagarius to the Zoroaster, who was actually a Daru or Druid of Bokhara. This coincidence is so singular that Faber thinks it can only be accounted for on the hypothesis of an ancient emigration from Persia to Ireland by the Northwest Passage, which carried the legend with it. Thus, in the prophecy of Zoroaster, we have the origin of the legend of the star and the Magi, which appeared early in the 2nd century in the infancy Gospels, and thence became incorporated into the prefatory chapters of Luke and Matthew, to which may be added that there was a Christian sect called Prodicians, whose leader, Prodicius, about AD 120, boasted that they had the secret books of Zoroaster. Having traced to their source the legends connected with the conception and birth of Jesus, and having found them associated with the central figure of Persian mythology, let us now go farther south and see what light may be thrown upon subsequent history, as given in the Gospels of infancy, portions of which also are to be found in Luke and Matthew, not forgetting, as we proceed, the intimate connection which existed between the ancient religions of Persia and India. And I will be start Krishna next.